Previously, we discussed if Richard of Conisburgh, father of Richard, 2nd Duke of York, and grandfather of Edward IV and Richard III, was the product of his mother's infidelity. But now let's take this a step further. For if the rumours were true, worse if he knew them to be, Richard's love life might make you cruel. This is your warning that the royal family did not have a family tree, but a family bush, and we will be diving into it. Quick recap, and I really will make it quick. Richard is claimed as the son of Edmund of Langley, 7th child of Edward III, but there were rumours that his mother Isabella had been fornicating with John Holland, so maybe he was actually a bastard that Edmund claimed just to keep some peace, and the DNA of Richard III suggests some lady cheated on her husband, so naturally Richard of Conisburgh is the guy that historians point to as the bastard. Okay, you got that? Let's go. In 1408, Richard was 22 to 23 years old when he took the hand of 19-year-old Anne Mortimer and ran off for a secret marriage ceremony. The pair may have had a relationship since as early as 1403. P.B. Hughes gives us the theory as they would have likely been in close proximity at the time, as Richard was defending Hertfordshire from Owen Glendower, the famous Welsh rebel leader. The two made quite a pair. Richard was underfunded as the king, Henry IV, was supposed to be giving him an allowance but wasn't paying regularly. And Anne Mortimer was an outcast as her brothers had claims to the throne, the eldest having been considered an heir presumptive for the previous king, Richard II. Anne's family have been described at the time as destitute. Their situation and their marriage that was undertaken without the knowledge of their family can be seen as confirmation that they were in love and they weren't going to have anyone stop them. How romantic. Now, they were both descendants of Edward III. Richard a grandson and Anne a great-great-granddaughter through the line of Edward III's son, Lionel, Duke of Clarence. Strange relations, they were first cousins twice removed, but with just a 3 to 4 year age gap. But then, were they? The fact that their marriage commenced without family approval and was so secret brings much suggestion, besides the possibility that the haste was due to a surprise pregnancy. So perhaps that infidelity rumour has something insidious to do with it. Because Anne's grandfather was Thomas Holland, the elder brother of Richard's possible father, John Holland. This puts them in 5 degrees of consanguinity. 4 degrees was absolutely not allowed, and papal dispensation would certainly be refused. It was a law as 4 degrees following the Roman law until the 9th century when the church increased the prohibited degrees to 7. They also changed how degrees were counted. Previously, degrees had been counted up to the common ancestor and then down. They changed the degree measurement to only counting back to the common ancestor. From the 11th century, there was a great increase in the frequency of papal dispensations, essentially permission to marry, for couples within 7 degrees. By the 4th century, nobles would need to look further afield to find potential partners who were not close cousins. While there certainly was cases of refusal, papal dispensations occurred particularly if there was political gain, such as alliances. You can find multiple examples of 7 degrees being approved or unquestioned, with one example being Richard's assumed father, Edmund. After the death of Isabella, Edmund married his second cousin once removed, Joan Holland, who was also Anne Mortimer's paternal aunt. See what I mean about it being a family bush? Within the rules above, if Richard was in fact the son of Holland, it places him 1 to 2 degrees closer in relation to Anne than if he is Edmund's son, depending on your method of counting. Nothing is known for sure, but what evidence we have gives us the possibilities as to what the couple's plan may have been. It's very easy to speculate. We have a secret marriage and a child following shortly after. We can, perhaps, surmise that the couple knew of reasons their marriage would be refused papal dispensation or at least be an issue for relatives, so created a situation that would increase the likelihood of acceptance. Another possibility that was mentioned earlier is that the pair may have been indulging in a sexual relationship that led to pregnancy. The date of their marriage ceremony and the date of their daughter's birth are not known, meaning it's quite possible the child was conceived before the ceremony. But hey, maybe this doesn't sicken you. Maybe you've read into royal family trees and you can think of some marriages that were disturbingly incestuous by our modern standards. Ancient Egypt provides us with some sickening examples. So if you have a story to share, drop it in the comments. And I'll see you next time in another time in history.